having their play lead to less playing time, and in this case, for Eli Manning, no playing time. I think the more interesting dynamic here is the Giants organization. Pat Shurmur, the Giants, for the sixth time in 7 years, are 0-2. No one in that building can be happy about this. They watched Odell Beckham Jr., and I'm not saying that influenced this decision, but he had 6 catches for 161 yards and very much looked like a playmaker, by the way, who Daniel Jones's arm would really enjoy throwing to. So I think for the New York Giants, this is truly a watershed moment. It is over for Eli Manning. He helped in a large way bring 2 of the 4 Lombardi trophies that you see every time you walk into the Giants lobby. It is now over for him in terms of his career as a Giant. So I think that this is a moment that goes beyond what, say, a DeAndre Baker or a Janoris Jenkins thinks in the locker room. I think this is really, really an enormous moment. It's coming far earlier than I anticipated. I have to believe it's coming much earlier than Eli Manning anticipated, but he always knew this was possible from the moment the Giants nabbed Jones with the number 6 overall pick. Eli Manning knew then his successor was in the building, that he had to, as Pat Shurmur said on draft night, keep this guy off the field. And ultimately, through 2 games, when the Giants' defense has looked like a sieve that cannot stop any team from driving down the field, and when the offense is not converting third downs and not scoring enough points, Eli Manning ultimately pays that price as we are still in the season of summer. I think most of us thought we were going to be far towards a cold winter before this happened.
Absolutely. Well, Kim, you've had a chance again to cover this team. You know how much Eli is respected and well-liked within that organization. In terms of the thinking of ownership and Dave Gettleman as well and Pat Shurmur, how collective of a decision was this?
I have to believe with everything in me that John Mara gave his okay here. And I don't think it happened without John Mara giving his okay. You can say the same thing about Gettleman's trade of Odell. That does not happen and did not happen for a while when it could have, because John Mara would not sign off on it. It happened when he ultimately did. In a far different way, we have now seen the same thing play out here. John Mara hated the way it was handled the first time. That is a big reason Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese are no longer here. Not the only reason, but a big one. And John Mara at this point, again, 0-2 again for the Eli Manning-led Giants, 6th time in 7 years. John Mara has looked at this, and I'm not speaking for him. This is my interpretation of what had to have happened. He looked at it. He said, we're not going to go down the same path again, disappointing our fans with another potentially losing season. And he said, I'm okay with it. Now is the time. Interesting to me, Daniel Jones will start in Tampa. He will start on the road against the Buccaneers. Perhaps that makes sense. Perhaps it was incidental to this. I don't know that. I will tell you this. Against Todd Bowles' defense on Sunday, whatever it is, whatever Bowles comes up with, it will be a far more complex and a far tougher task than Jones ever saw in preseason, when most of what he saw, and I'm not diminishing the way he played, but most of what he saw was vanilla.
This is a young team. They need a spark, and as you mentioned, 0-2. How galvanizing could this move be for this team moving forward?
Well, I think Daniel Jones did a nice job right off the bat, fitting in. When I say saying the right thing, sometimes that sounds like it's contrived. I don't mean it that way. Saying, things that made sense, saying things that, humanized him and made him seem like a young kid really happy to have been drafted by the Giants and wanting to soak up all the knowledge he could. And he's been all of that from what everyone says. I don't know about galvanizing. I mean, does it help, another rookie, DeAndre Baker, cover better? I mean, I'm just not sure it does. Does it help Jabril Peppers get off a block from a tight end who drives them, 9 yards into the end zone, as one of the Bills was scoring on Sunday? I find it hard to believe that putting Daniel Jones or anyone else into the starting quarterback role makes this Giants defense play a whole lot better.
Now
Could there be a Could there be a momentary high point where the sidelines, going crazy because something good happens? Of course. I just find it hard to believe he lifts the play, especially of a defense that just has been terrible through 2 games.
I want to pose this question to you. I asked Tom this as well. There are teams around the league that need quarterbacks. What's next for Eli Manning now, do we think? We know that he's backing up Daniel Jones, but is there any possibility that he gets moved before the season's over?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give you a non-good answer here and say I don't know, but it's the honest one. Eli is so tied to this area and, and his family and, uprooting at this point would obviously be a very personal decision for him and his family and that sort of thing, to where I don't know the answer. I do know you can look around the league and see some points where Eli Manning could conceivably step in and help and, maybe right things for the immediate future and that kind of thing. Obviously, at age 36, he's not going to be some, overly long-term answer for anyone. Again, I'll be the rare person, I guess, who just simply says, I don't know, as my best answer. It would be hard to see in many ways. But I will tell you this. Someone in the last couple days, in conversation, someone in the NFL happened to mention to me, hey, you put Eli in a pro system, he can still get this done. He can still throw the ball. I don't think he is looked at as done in every NFL circle. I do think his best days are probably behind him, but that'll obviously be something whenever we talk to Eli again. Keep in mind, we always talk to Eli on Monday after losses because he accepts that responsibility. We always talk to Eli Manning, always on Wednesdays. It'll be very interesting tomorrow. Perhaps it's Daniel Jones, who we definitely will talk to, but whether Eli's in the locker room or not will be, something that we'll be obviously watching.